So last Friday, we started section 2-8 and we didn't finish it. And I'm kind of swapping that second day of that with section 2-9 because of the fact that I'm gonna be gone tomorrow. And I'd rather you have this information before you review than that section. There's just a few types of questions. So tomorrow you're going to do a review assignment. There are a couple things on that review that are gonna be taught on Wednesday. So I'll put in my sub-notes which ones you are to skip on that. And then Wednesday we'll finish up section 2-8, and then you'll do a practice test Thursday and your test will be on Friday, okay? You have Mr. Horning for a sub tomorrow. I'll be in the building, but I am gonna be in a meeting all day, so. All right, so today should not seem too bad because this is actually paired with one of the lessons we had last week where we talked about if you have two parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. This lesson does the converse of each of those things. So today, they're gonna give us some information and we have to determine if those lines are parallel or not. Whereas last week, they'd say the lines are parallel, then corresponding angles are congruent. Today, they give us two angles. If they're corresponding and they're congruent, then we can say our lines are parallel. So a lot of this is going to be very familiar because it's so connected to that lesson. So, the first thing, corresponding angles are the ones that are in the same position. So an example would be 1 and 3, okay? 1 is to the left and above this line, 3 is to the left and above that line. What this is saying is if they told us angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, that would be enough for us to know these two lines are parallel. So we could say A is parallel to B, okay? So if corresponding angles are congruent or equal, the two lines are parallel. Then we have one for alternate exterior angles. And remember, alternate exterior angles also were equal or congruent. So what this is saying is if they ever tell us a pair of alternate exterior angles are congruent, that's enough to say our lines are parallel. And alternate exterior means they're outside of these two lines. And then remember, alternate means on opposite sides of our transversal. So if they told us angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, we could say that P and Q are parallel. Then we have another one, which is consecutive interior angles. Consecutive interior angles were the ones that were not congruent. Do you remember what they were instead? They weren't congruent, but what did they do? Added up to 180, very good. So 4 and 5 here, the reason they're consecutive interior, consecutive meant same side of the transversal, and interior means they're inside of these two lines. And if they're consecutive interior and add up to 180, that is enough to say these two are parallel. So maybe they tell us the measure of angle 4 is 80 and the measure of angle 5 is 100. Since those two add up to 180, you can then say that P is parallel to Q. Right? Oops. So then if we go here, our last type that we need to talk about is alternate interior. Alternate again means opposite sides of the transversal. interior means inside of these two lines. So if the alternate interior are equal or congruent, that is enough to say our lines are parallel. Okay? So this just summarizes what we just went over, and this is on your cheat sheet if you forgot when it comes to Friday's test. So we want corresponding angles to be congruent, alternate interior angles to be congruent, alternate exterior to be congruent, and then consecutive interior to be supplementary or add up to 180. So this is what the first part of your assignment will look like today. They will give us two angles, and we have to decide, is that enough for us to say that the two lines are parallel? Okay? So, this angle and this angle are what kind? Out of alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, or consecutive interior? Corresponding. And do we want corresponding to be equal? We do, right? So then what I can say is M is parallel to N. And then it says explain, and I can't remember. I am gonna check if I made the kids last year write why or not. Just give me 1 second. Bless you. Yes.
Tomorrow after school, are you still gonna be?
I will be here, yes.
Okay.
Yep, that works. All right. You don't have to explain, guys. I wasn't sure if we did or not. But again, what you're looking for here is, are your corresponding angles equal? Are your alternate interior equal or congruent? Are your alternate exterior equal? Or are your consecutive interior equal to 180? Okay, so M is parallel to N, and actually all we have to do is say yes here. So yes or no is fine, okay? All right, so these, what kind are these?
Alternate interior.
Yep, and do we want those to be equal?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's enough to say M and N are parallel, so we're just gonna say yes.
Oh, so you don't even have to see.
Yeah, you don't even have to say which ones, we're just gonna say if there's enough to say that M is parallel to N, yes or no? Okay, now these two right here, are they any of those four? Alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, or consecutive interior? Consecutive interior would be like these two or these two. So those four types, you always need one from this group of four and one from that group of four. If they ever give you two that are in the same group of four, then there's not enough. Do you guys get what I mean by these are in this bottom group of four? These are actually, what is it called when two angles form a line? Linear pair. That's not one of the ways to show two lines are parallel, so this is no. So like I said, if ever the two are in this group of four or they're in the bottom group of four, it's going to be a no. So if I look at this one, aren't these two in the bottom group of four? So automatically that's a no. Now E, what kind do those look like? Consecutive interior. And consecutive interior, do we want them equal or do we want them to equal 180? Is 150 plus 30 180?
Yes.
Yes, so that is because they're consecutive interior and they add up to 180. If I look at F, what kind are those two?
Alternate exterior.
And do we want those to be equal? Yes, very good. Alright, so I think this next page is like that too. So same thing, we're just gonna say yes or no. What about A, what kind are those?
Corresponding.
Do we want corresponding to be equal?
Yes.
Yes. How about B, what kind are those?
Alternate interior.
And we want those to be,
Equal.
so this one is a yes, okay. C, if I look at that, what kind are those?
Alternate exterior.
Do we want those equal? Yes. Okay. Then D. Do those look like any of them?
No.
They aren't, right? They're not alternate interior, they're not alternate exterior, they're not consecutive interior, they're not corresponding. So they're just giving us two that aren't any of those, so that would be a no. Is E a yes or a no?
No.
No. And remember, those are from the upper group of four, so that's no. And then F, what kind?
Consecutive?
Corresponding.
They're corresponding. Consecutive would be like this one and this one. These are corresponding. Do we want those equal?
Yes.
Yes, very good. All right, if you look at this page, what do you think about this one?
Yes.
Yes, what kind are they?
Corresponding.
Corresponding, okay. For B, are those any of the four? They're not. They're not alternate interior, they're not alternate exterior, they're not consecutive interior. These are actually consecutive exterior, which we don't need a rule for those, so we never talk about consecutive exterior. So this one, we're just gonna say no. For C, what do you think?
Yes.
Yes, because they are,
Alternate interior.
yep, the 58 goes with this one and that one, and they're alternate interior. Then for D, yes or no?
No.
No, because they're a bottom group of four. And then E,
Consecutive interior.
consecutive interior, do we want those equal to 180? Yes. Okay. And then F, what do you think? Why not? Yes, they're consecutive interior, but they don't add up to 180, they're equal. And with consecutive interior, we don't want them equal, we want them to add up to 180, okay? Then they're gonna have us do some algebra again, and this is, if, I don't know if this part is on your cheat sheet or not, but basically if you get stuck when you're doing these today, okay? If they give you corresponding angles, you're gonna set them equal to each other. If they give you alternate interior, set them equal to each other. Alternate exterior equal, and consecutive interior, you're gonna add them together and set them equal to 180. So let's look at these. We wanna solve for X. What kind are they?
Alternate exterior.
Alternate exterior. With alternate exterior, do we set them equal or
Yes.
add them?
Set them equal.
Set them equal. So we're gonna go 5x minus 5 equals 6x minus 20, and then we're gonna go ahead and solve that. So I'm gonna bring my 5x over to the right side, and then I have negative 5 equals 6x minus 5x is x, and then I have my minus 20. And then I just continue solving that, so I add 20. And x equals a negative 5 plus 20 is 15. Okay. Then if I look at B, what kind are these?
Corresponding.
And what do we want to, are they corresponding? Corresponding would be like this one and this one, right? These are insides, consecutive interior. What do we do with consecutive interior?
Or equal to 180.
Add them and set them equal to 180. So we're gonna do 2x plus 6 plus 130 equals 180. Then we add those two together. 6 plus 130 is 136. Okay, then I'm gonna subtract 136. And I get 2x equals 44. Divide by 2. And x is 22. Okay. What do you think about these two? What do we know?
That box equals 90 degrees.
Yep, this is 90 and they are
It's
alternate interior
or alternate interior.
because they're on the opposite sides. Okay, an alternate interior we set equal. So I can go 3x plus 15 equals 90. Then I would subtract 15 and I'd get 3x equals 75. Divide by 3 and x is 25. Okay. What do you think about D? What kind are they? Alternate interior. So what would we do with them? Set them equal. So we'd go 9x plus 1 equals 8x plus 8. Then I just go ahead and solve that. So I subtract 8x. 9x minus 8x is x plus 1 equals 8. Then I subtract 1 and x is 7. Okay. What do you guys think about E? Corresponding. And what do we do with corresponding?
Set them equal.
So I can go 4x minus 6 equals 3x plus 6. Then I'm going to bring my 3x over to the left, and I get x minus 6 equals 6. Add 6,
X equals 12.
and x equals 12. Very good. Alright, last page. What do you guys think of this first one?
Alternate exterior.
An alternate exterior we would equal. So we're gonna go 3x minus 14 equals 2x plus 25. So I'm gonna subtract 2x, and then I would get x minus 14 equals 25. Add 14, and x is 39. Okay. Then if I look at B, corresponding, and what do
Set them
we,
equal.
so we set them equal. So I'd go 5x minus 20 equals 90, add 20, and 5x equals 110, divide by 5. Anyone have that? 22, right? And then our last one here, what kind?
Consecutive interior.
So we would
Equal them to 180.
equal them to 180. So I'm gonna go 7x minus 2 plus 10 minus 3x equals 180. So then I would combine my 7x minus 3x, which is 4x, yep. And then negative 2 plus 10 would be 8, very good. And then it becomes much easier. So we subtract 8 and we get 4x equals 172. Divide by 4 and x would be 43, I believe. Okay. All right, so your assignment for today is going to be worksheets on Schoology, and I believe I set them up already. And I don't know if I have a key on there. If I don't, let me know and I'll find one for you. Sound good?